Federal Drive is presented by GEHA, Government Employees Health Association, proudly providing health and dental benefits to federal employees and their families. Visit GEHA.com.
Shutdowns and crises have a way of exposing the instability of programs meant to protect the most vulnerable. Clarence Carter, Tennessee's Human Services Commissioner and author of Our Net Has Holes in It, is here to discuss lessons from his decades of reform and how to build a safety net that works for people, not politics. Clarence, thank you so much for joining me.
Pleasure to be here with you this morning, Terry.
You have been in public service and in safety net programs for over 33 years. As we come out of this shutdown, it really exposed both the importance and the fragility of these programs. Give me a sense from your experience what you saw and what did we learn about these programs in the last 43 days?
Well, I hope what we learned is the essential nature of these programs. You know, the first couple of weeks of the shutdown were pretty lukewarm. But as it got to the place where we saw the potential challenges to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, things got serious. And quite frankly, I never thought it would get to the moment where we were not in a position to provide the most basic of safety net services to the 42 million consumers that are desperately in need of those. I am glad that we were able to ultimately clean that up. But having that, if you would, anvil over the head of individuals that desperately need that most basic support, I think showcased the importance of the safety net and some of the programs we administer.
You've just written a book called Our Net Has Holes in It. When you look at these programs, I know you've worked in housing assistance. Now you're supporting all kinds of human assistance programs there in Tennessee. What are the most enduring lessons that you want to bring forward about making sure these critical programs work for people?
Terry, the most, I would think, enduring message that I have is that we clearly, in this nation, we have a desire to help our neighbors that are living in the margins. We spend annually, and this is federal government alone, $1.49 trillion annually in service to vulnerable Americans. My argument, and our net lays out this argument, that what we have to do is shift our intention, shift our design, and shift our execution. It's not about us not caring enough. It's not about us not spending enough. It is about flawed intention, design, and execution.
As you think about those three principles, let's take design first, because that's the structure that we're working with.
That's right.
What are the core features that need to be reformed?
The first core feature is that all of the 114 means-tested programs they were designed singularly to address one aspect of the human condition. And they weren't designed to work in conjunction with anything else. But many of the consumers that the system serves has multiple challenges that need to be remediated. And the system wasn't designed to take that kind of comprehensive approach. And so one of the first things that has to happen is the system has got to be reformed so that all of the programs can be enabled to operate as tools in a toolkit, but that can be connected to allow us to take a more comprehensive approach to the issue of human well-being, not simply the administration of programs.
I'm speaking with Clarence Carter. He's currently the Commissioner of Human Services for the state of Tennessee. Clarence, that's a huge design issue. I want to talk also about execution, because human services programs and assistance are state-federal partnerships. You've worked on both sides of that. What are the execution issues there, and how can we overcome them?
Okay, and so, Terry, you laid that out perfectly. And the challenge is the states and localities administer the programs and utilize the funding with some state add-on, and the states administer the programs. And so what ends up at the state level is you end up executing the flaws of design of the federal system, okay? And so the state doesn't have an opportunity to do it differently. They have to administer the rules of the programs as they have been given. And so my life's work has been a journey to call out the dysfunction of design that begins at the federal level and then works its way all the way down the food chain until it gets to the consumer, who then is, quite frankly, in a place where they are being served by a system with great intention, but really poor execution and design.
All right, so the third portion that you mentioned was intention, and you've worked across party lines. You've worked with leaders of both parties across the partisan lines. One would think that vulnerable assistance would be an important bipartisan issue, but it gets tangled up in politics. How do we separate the value of the programs and the intent of the programs from the politics around the programs?
Terry, I think that we have to do that by shifting our focus from the politics to the programs, okay? And I feel like, and we lay this out in our net, it begins with intention. Our intention has to be that we meet our neighbor in their vulnerability with the intention to grow them beyond the vulnerability, not simply provide benefits, goods, and services as long as they meet the criterion to be served. And I believe that if we begin with that intention, we can check our partisan weapons at the door and focus on, okay, if it's our intention to grow people beyond, then how do we architect the system to achieve that objective? We have to begin with this shared vision of understanding that we will always have, every society known to humankind has, that we will always have neighbors amongst us that suffer from some manner of economic, social, developmental vulnerability. And so we have to design an efficient, effective system that understands vulnerability with the intention to grow our citizenry beyond that vulnerability. And success has to be in a system like that, not that I delivered a benefit, good, or service, but that the consumer got healthier for it. We measure right now, we measure outputs. I can tell you as a administrator of the SNAP program, what I get held accountable for is, did I deliver the SNAP benefit to who was entitled to receive it? Did I deliver it in the right amount? And did I deliver it in the right time frame? Nobody asked me, did that family get to a place where we grew their capacity so that they don't need it? I get judged on efficiency measures. I think that we need to add to efficiency measures, we need to add human well-being metrics, and that needs to be the true determinant of success.
Clarence, you've laid out a powerful vision there. What would be the top one or two or even three policy priorities that you would put on the table for Congress to help strengthen the safety net and achieve that vision of well-being?
The first would be connectivity. And what I mean by that is that the 114 means-tested programs of the safety net need to be able to be connected so that they become tools in a toolkit to achieve the objective of growing people beyond. So connectivity is important. But before we get to connectivity, we have to begin with a shared vision. And that shared vision, our argument in NET is that shared vision has to be helping individuals achieve the highest degree of freedom possible. The highest degree of freedom possible. And so if we set out with that intention, to help individuals achieve the highest degree of freedom possible, and we connect the tools so that those tools can work together, then we can have a system, and we measure what counts. We measure human capacity. Those things coming together can create a profoundly different system of public supports.
I've been speaking with Clarence Carter. He's Commissioner for Human Services for the state of Tennessee. Clarence, thank you so much for sharing both your powerful vision, but also your recommendations.
Terry, thanks so much. It's been a pleasure to be here with you and your audience this morning.
We'll post this interview at federalnewsnetwork.com/Federal Drive. Listen to the Federal Drive on your schedule and your device. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.